Hello, welcome to a book a day today. The book I will interpret for you is Burnout to Brilliance. It is a book that discusses how to help modern professionals alleviate stress and overcome occupational burnout. Feeling unwilling to go to work every day, experiencing high work pressure, feeling mentally and physically exhausted, not wanting to do anything, sometimes intentionally keeping a distance from work and colleagues, avoiding tasks when possible, these are all signs of occupational burnout. Moreover, the lack of a sense of accomplishment at work and the feeling that anyone could do their job often lead to a sense of uselessness and powerlessness. However, they have to continue because of their livelihood. I believe many people have had similar experiences. This is not due to laziness or an inability to endure hardships, but rather a state of occupational burnout. In May 2019, the World Health Organization included occupational burnout in the International Classification of Diseases for the first time, defining it as a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that has not been successfully managed. Occupational burnout has three characteristics: feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, distancing oneself from work and feeling negative and cynical about it, and reduced professional efficacy. However, it is important to note that while occupational burnout has been included in the International Classification of Diseases, it is not strictly considered a medical condition. Instead, it is a work-related phenomenon closely related to physical and mental health, and it is a global issue. For example, in 2019, Medscape, a well-known medical website in the United States, published a survey report on over 15,000 physicians, which found that 44% of them experienced occupational burnout. With so many people experiencing occupational burnout and its significant consequences, how can we alleviate work stress and overcome occupational burnout? This book may provide some answers. The author of this book, Lynn Spencer, is the co-founder of Bodyshot Performance, a happiness consultancy company in the UK. Lynn and her team have collaborated extensively with professionals in the health field and small to medium-sized enterprises to research how to improve employees' work happiness. They have developed a set of practical methods based on 6 health signals: sleep, mental health, energy, body composition, digestion, and fitness. These methods have helped many employees improve their work status and have received numerous accolades. Therefore, whether you are just beginning to experience signs of burnout or have already suffered from it, this book can help you identify your current work status and successfully recover from burnout. In my opinion, the 6 health signals proposed by the author can be further summarized into 2 categories: mental burnout and physical burnout. Therefore, based on the author's theories and methods, let's discuss how to alleviate this feeling of mental and physical exhaustion step by step. Part 1 first, let's talk about mental burnout. People experiencing occupational burnout often share common mental feelings, such as anxiety, excessive worry, self-criticism, indifference, and irritability. One significant reason for these negative emotions is excessive stress. On one hand, the stress comes from the nature of the work itself. For example, in the field of higher education, the competition for jobs is increasing due to the expansion of universities, and the job market is placing higher demands on educational qualifications. In 2023, for the first time in Beijing, the number of postgraduate degree holders surpassed that of undergraduate degree holders. In addition, the 996 work culture is prevalent in the internet industry. Compared to those who cannot find work, working long hours and frequently overtime may not seem significant. On the other hand, individuals also put pressure on themselves. For instance, newcomers to the workforce may set high expectations for themselves and face setbacks if they don't meet their goals. Furthermore, they may find that their current job is far from their personal aspirations and ideals, leading to disappointment. However, they may struggle to determine what they truly want to do, sometimes persisting in their work simply because they don't know how to quit. These factors can contribute to feelings of burnout. However, burnout does not happen overnight. It usually follows a process that intensifies as stress accumulates. Clinical psychologists Herbert Freudenberger and Gail North identified 12 stages of burnout, which clearly illustrate how work stress gradually erodes mental and physical health. Let's briefly go through these 12 stages. In the first stage, individuals often have a strong desire to prove themselves, setting high goals, and making significant commitments. In the second stage, they exert extra effort to meet those high expectations. As they enter the third stage, their level of dedication deepens, focusing solely on work and neglecting their own needs, such as sleep, exercise, and regular meals. In the fourth stage, they start to realize that something is not quite right with their work, but they can't pinpoint the reasons. The intense internal conflict can lead to a series of physical symptoms. The fifth stage is marked by a shift in values, where work becomes the only value, without any personal time or space. In the sixth stage, denial sets in, as individuals refuse to acknowledge the problems caused by work stress, and instead blame others, believing them to be incompetent, lazy, or arrogant. This is followed by the seventh stage, where individuals begin to distance themselves from family and friends, experiencing a sense of helplessness and directionlessness. In the eighth stage, colleagues, family, and friends will noticeably notice the behavioral changes. In the ninth stage, individuals lose their sense of identity and become unclear about their personal needs, living mechanically, and focusing only on the present. The 10th stage involves seeking relief from the inner emptiness through overeating, promiscuity, or alcohol abuse. In the 11th stage, depression and overwhelming fatigue set in, making life seem meaningless. Finally, the 12th stage involves a complete breakdown of mental and physical health, with severe cases possibly leading to suicidal thoughts, requiring immediate professional help. Of course, these stages do not necessarily occur in every case, as each person's experience with burnout is different. However, understanding these stages can help us better recognize occupational burnout and take effective measures to prevent and alleviate it. How can we improve our mental well-being and achieve workplace happiness? The author believes that we can start by focusing on 4 neurotransmitters in the brain: dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. These neurotransmitters play a crucial role in maintaining and restoring mental well-being. Next, I will discuss these neurotransmitters in detail along with the book Why Do Elites Use Their Brains Without Getting Tired by Zian Huaz. The author of this book, Zian Huaz, is a Japanese psychiatrist known for his ability to explain complex professional knowledge in simple and understandable language. His ideas align with those presented in the book we are discussing today. Zian Huaz believes that using work methods that contradict brain function is akin to driving with the handbrake pulled while stepping on the gas pedal. Although the car moves forward, it does so with great difficulty and risks damaging the vehicle. On the other hand, by aligning work methods with brain function, we can maximize work capacity and efficiency while minimizing the mental stress caused by work. Without further ado, let's delve into these neurotransmitters. First, let's focus on stimulating dopamine secretion. Dopamine needs no introduction. We are all familiar with it. It is a neurotransmitter closely associated with the brain's reward center, and it profoundly impacts our information processing, attention, memory, and planning abilities. It can be said that having dopamine gives us the drive and motivation to work actively. How can we stimulate dopamine secretion in our work environment? While stable and steady work is desirable, if there is no variability, the brain's dopamine secretion may become insufficient, leading to feelings of boredom and indifference over time. To maintain that excited and eager feeling about work, it is necessary to introduce challenges into our work. These challenges can start with setting goals and achieving goals. When people set goals and work toward achieving them, both the process of setting goals and the process of achieving them stimulate dopamine secretion. After achieving a goal, it motivates individuals to set and accomplish the next one. This continuous stimulation of dopamine secretion maximizes enthusiasm for work. However, not all goals can stimulate dopamine secretion. First, the goal should not be too large or vague. It's best to make them practical and attainable, something that requires a bit of effort, but is not easily accomplished, striking a balance between being challenging and not leading to premature abandonment. Second, compared to setting a single long-term goal, setting short-term goals that can be achieved within a short period, and then setting slightly more challenging short-term goals after accomplishing them is more likely to lead to long-term success. Finally, goals need to be repeatedly confirmed because sometimes we set multiple goals, but then forget about them and fail to act accordingly. Therefore, we must make the goals visible at all times, such as by placing them on the desk or announcing them to those around us, to constantly remind ourselves of their existence. Apart from the method mentioned above, we can also supplement through diet. For example, consuming foods rich in tyrosine. Dopamine is produced from an amino acid called tyrosine. If there's a deficiency of tyrosine in the body, an adequate amount of dopamine cannot be secreted. What are some foods rich in tyrosine? Foods such as cheese, turkey, sunflower seeds, brown rice, peanuts and legumes, vegetables, fruits, etc., are all rich in tyrosine. However, to transport tyrosine to our brain, the cooperation of sugar is also required. The main source of sugar in the body comes from carbohydrates, which are staple foods. In addition, to convert tyrosine into dopamine, the participation of vitamin B6 is also required. Foods with high vitamin B6 content include bananas, milk, mackerel, tuna, salmon, and so on. So you see, if you want to stimulate dopamine through diet, you should have a balanced and nutritious diet. This is the foundation for building a healthy body and mind. Next is oxytocin. Oxytocin is known as the love hormone as it can influence emotions and behavior, promote the formation and maintenance of intimate relationships, and make people feel happy, satisfied, and loyal. After a day of work, what do you do when you get home in the evening? Some people may say they don't want to do anything and just want to lie down. Or maybe there are unfinished tasks from the day at the office, so they continue working when they get home. The former is okay, but the latter needs extra caution because once the idea of bringing unfinished work from the office home arises, it becomes easy to lose the sense of urgency during the day and end up procrastinating, eventually having to take work home. Over time, work pressure gradually erodes people's physical and mental health. In fact, coming home in the evening is a great time for relaxation and healing. We should value our rest and relaxation at night just as much as we value our work during the day. For example, we can give a hug to our family or partner, have a chat, or spend time with pets. These actions can promote the secretion of oxytocin and make us feel loved and cherished, relieving work pressure. Dopamine gives people motivation for work. Oxytocin provides relaxation and healing after work. And then there is serotonin. Serotonin is a natural mood stabilizer that can help people change their mood and restore a sense of calmness. During work, there are always times when things become difficult to continue or when there's an excessive workload and high stress for a period of time. At such times, it is crucial to calm negative emotions and turn them into positive ones. The book Why the Elite Can Use Their Brains Without Getting Tired mentions that loud reading stimulates serotonin secretion and also promotes blood circulation in the prefrontal cortex, increasing blood flow, which also has a certain effect on preventing senile dementia. For office workers who spend most of their working time reading and writing, there are few opportunities for loud reading. However, if people have the chance to try loud reading, they will experience a transition from writing to loud reading, which can bring our bodies from a state of basic stillness to a state of slight movement, refreshing both our mood and mind. For example, for people who often write articles, when they encounter a lack of ideas, they can read aloud the articles they have written before. When reading one's own article out loud, it sounds as if reading someone else's article, which helps people objectively review their own work and identify areas that need modification more easily. Additionally, loud reading is like giving a massage to the tense brain, helping to stimulate creative inspiration. If you are concerned about disturbing your colleagues in the office with loud reading, you can find an empty meeting room or another secluded space, take some work-related documents, the content doesn't matter, and read them out loud with the door closed. In addition to loud reading, shedding tears can also stimulate serotonin secretion. For example, when people watch movies, they often shed tears due to being moved. During the process of shedding tears, blood circulation in the prefrontal cortex accelerates, and the vitality of serotonin neurons increases significantly. So, as long as it doesn't trouble others, it's best not to suppress the urge to cry, and let yourself cry freely. It is also a way to relieve stress. Let's take a look at dietary supplementation. The author suggests that consuming foods rich in tryptophan and vitamin B6, such as chicken, donkey meat, eggs, cheese, salmon, tuna, dark green vegetables, chia seeds, and nuts can increase serotonin levels. In addition, consuming good quality fish oil is beneficial because it contains a significant amount of omega-3 fatty acids, with eicosapentaenoic acid EPA and docosahexaenoic acid DHA being the most important. These are crucial for brain health and can also promote serotonin secretion. Finally, there is another neurotransmitter called endorphins. Endorphins are generally released when we face significant mental stress and have an analgesic effect. For example, marathon runners, when they feel difficulty in breathing, weakness in their legs, and think they can no longer continue running, endorphins are released in large quantities to help alleviate their pain. However, we don't have to wait until the stress reaches its limit to let endorphins take effect. In other states, we can also stimulate the brain to release endorphins, such as when our hearts are calm and relaxed. When the body and mind are in a relaxed state, the brain produces alpha waves. And when the brain emits alpha waves, endorphins are also secreted. So to promote endorphin secretion, it can be achieved by inducing the release of alpha waves. Now, how do we make our brains emit alpha waves? For example, meditation is a good method that is mentioned in many books. Meditation can start with focusing on the breath. The author once attended a training where the instructor asked everyone in the room to sit quietly for a few minutes and capture the sounds around them. After a few minutes, everyone shared the sounds they had recorded. Almost everyone recorded similar sounds, such as the sound of moving chairs, the sound of clothes rubbing, the sound of cars passing by outside, etc. However, not a single person noticed their own breathing sound, even though it was the closest sound to them. So if you don't know how to start meditation, you can begin by focusing on your breath and taking time to consider your sensations. The purpose of this practice is to help you disconnect from the external world and quickly calm down. Another example is listening to your favorite music. Researchers have found that both creating and listening to music can promote the release of endorphins in the body, providing pain relief and a sense of pleasure. Moreover, while listening to music, the body also releases dopamine, so it's a win-win situation. Another similar effect can be achieved by eating dark chocolate. The author mentions in the book that consuming dark chocolate with a cocoa content of 85% or higher can increase the levels of endorphins and serotonin released by the brain, helping to alleviate pain and reduce stress. However, it is important to control the intake and consume in moderation. Part 2. Alright, after discussing the mental aspects of occupational burnout and how to deal with it, let's now talk about the physical aspects and what we can do. Physical burnout can generally be divided into two aspects: sleep issues and bodily pain. Some people are lucky enough to fall asleep as soon as their head touches the pillow. However, most people experiencing occupational burnout often have sleep problems such as difficulty falling asleep, frequent awakenings during the night, waking up feeling groggy, and exhausted despite sleeping for a long time, and so on. Lack of sleep or poor sleep quality can significantly affect our ability to cope with challenges in our daily work. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania conducted a study and found that if a person sleeps only 6 hours per day continuously for 14 days, their focus and concentration would be severely impaired, similar to the state of being sleep deprived for 2 days straight. Moreover, sleep issues can increase the risk of cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, obesity, and other health problems. The author says that insufficient sleep disrupts the balance between the hormones ghrelin and leptin in our bodies. Ghrelin is a hormone that signals hunger to the brain, while leptin signals satiety. Both hormones need to work together for the body to maintain balance. However, when we don't get enough sleep, ghrelin levels increase and leptin levels are suppressed. This leads to the brain constantly sending signals of hunger, making us want to eat. This is particularly detrimental for those who are trying to control their weight. So how can we improve the quality of our sleep? We can start from two aspects: falling asleep and waking up. Melatonin is the substance that induces sleepiness. The more melatonin is secreted, the better we sleep. Melatonin secretion increases from the evening, and by the time we go to bed, melatonin secretion is already quite active. In other words, the activities we engage in from after dinner until bedtime have a significant impact on melatonin secretion. Melatonin dislikes light. If you spend the time before bedtime in a brightly lit living room watching TV, even if you enter a completely dark bedroom and lie down, you won't be able to fall asleep immediately. However, if we can relax in a dimly lit room 1 or 2 hours before bedtime, it can stimulate melatonin secretion. For example, many people spend half an hour to an hour reading a book with a bedside lamp before sleep, and when drowsiness sets in, they turn off the light and go to sleep. This is a very good habit for sleep. Furthermore, the bedroom environment is also crucial. The bedroom is our recovery room, and if light enters the retina while we sleep, it inhibits melatonin secretion. Apart from the eyes, our skin also has light receptors. So if you want to eliminate all disturbances from light, it's best to block out all sources of light in the bedroom, including turning off bedside lamps, computer monitors, and all objects that emit light. When we wake up, our melatonin has been depleted, so during the day, we need to accumulate melatonin as much as possible to be used at night. As we mentioned in the audiobook consultation room for life trouble, serotonin is the raw material for melatonin. If serotonin is depleted, there will be no raw material available for synthesizing melatonin. When we wake up in the morning, as our body and mind become active, serotonin secretion also becomes vigorous, especially in the morning when serotonin secretion is at its highest. So in the morning, open the curtains, go outside, and bathe in the morning sunlight. It's a simple and effective way to activate serotonin. After discussing sleep issues, let's now take a look at bodily pain. People who are constantly under stress often experience various bodily pains. Sometimes it's toothache, sometimes it's stomachache, sometimes it's back pain. Why is that? If you observe carefully, you will find some commonalities among them. They tend to have tense bodies, cross their arms, raise their shoulders, and bend their torsos. The author says that these postures compress the internal organs, reducing blood circulation and leading to muscle, joint, and nerve pain. Mood affects body posture, and in turn, body posture affects mood. For example, sitting upright helps the nervous system better cope with stress. An article in the Journal of Health Psychology mentioned that an upright sitting posture may be a simple behavioral strategy that helps enhance stress resistance. Another study conducted by Harvard University found that when people adopt high-energy postures, such as sitting up straight or more relaxed postures, the level of the stress hormone cortisol decreases. However, when people assume low-energy postures, which are the tense postures mentioned earlier, cortisol levels increase. In addition, researchers conducted an experiment where participants from groups A and B assumed different postures for 1 minute each. Group A participants imitated the powerful sitting posture of a chairman, leaning their backs against the chair and clasping their hands behind their heads. Group B participants placed their hands on their knees, hunched their shoulders, and lowered their heads while sitting in the chair. The results showed that the testosterone levels in Group A participants increased, while cortisol levels decreased, making them appear more energetic. On the other hand, Group B participants experienced a significant decrease in testosterone levels and an increase in cortisol levels, displaying a strong sense of tension and helplessness. Testosterone is a male hormone, and higher levels of testosterone in the body enhance feelings of superiority, competitiveness, resistance to disease, and leadership abilities. Therefore, when we feel overwhelmed by stress, it's even more important to straighten our backs and not curl up in self-pity. Conclusion. All right, this is where the book From Burnout to Radiance concludes. Once the psychologist held up a glass of water while talking about stress management and asked the audience, "How heavy is this glass of water?" Everyone enthusiastically guessed the weight of the glass. However, the psychologist said, "The actual weight of this glass of water is not important. The weight I perceive depends on how long I hold it. If I hold it for 1 minute, it's not a problem. But if I hold it for an hour, a day, or even longer, my arm will become numb, and in severe cases, it can be paralyzed. The weight of the glass of water hasn't changed, but the longer I hold it, the heavier it feels." That's right, work-related stress is like that glass of water. Brief periods of stress don't bring serious consequences, but if stress persists continuously, it can lead to occupational burnout and harm our physical and mental health. So what should we do? At this point, the best thing to do is to put down that glass of water. We can apply the methods mentioned today, such as improving our psychological well-being by starting with neurotransmitters in the brain, allowing ourselves to detach from stress, and then gradually enhancing our motivation and happiness at work. Additionally, we can start with sleep and body posture, adjusting our physical well-being to have the energy and physical strength to cope with the busy workday. Of course, making significant changes from the beginning is challenging, but even making small changes and continuously accumulating them will eventually bring about significant transformations. Furthermore, as the classical teacher in the Super Individual course mentioned, occupational burnout is a modern disease in fast-paced industrial society. It is widespread, recurring, and perhaps no one can escape from it or completely cure it. In the face of such a situation, besides taking proactive actions for positive changes, we may also consider adjusting our mindset and viewing occupational burnout as an opportunity for self-reflection and self-improvement. We can identify which aspects of our professional skills still need improvement, remain vigilant, constantly adjust ourselves, and bravely let go of what is unnecessary. This may be the norm in life and help us transition from burnout to radiance. That concludes the essence of this book. You can click the share button below the video to share this book with your friends for free. Congratulations! You have completed another book.